welcome to Taking Care of Business. I'm Lori Higgins, the president of the Metro North Chamber of Commerce. The Metro North Chamber is a business organization dedicated to serving the area businesses within Anoka County. Taking Care of Business is just one way in which we like to feature the amazing businesses within this area. Today, my guest is from Financial One Credit Union, and I will be introducing him in just a moment. But before I do, I'd like to take a moment to acknowledge the recent success of North Metro TV and our producer of the show, Damien Kusian, for winning an Emmy Award for his outstanding efforts. Now, as you can see, they're clearly an accomplished TV studio, and Damien and his team do an amazing job on this show and everything else that they produce. So thank you, Damien, and your team for producing this show and making it such an excellent way to showcase the Metro North Chamber businesses. Now, without further ado, Ross, you are the president of Financial One Credit Union, and welcome to Taking Care of Business.
Thank you. I'm happy to be here.
Well, I am excited to learn more about Financial One and all that you do for the community, the things that you offer. But first, I want to go just do some general information for people who might not know the difference between a credit union and a bank. So can you just start us off with some general information?
That's a good place to start, Lori. There is a lot of confusion around that. The basic difference between a credit union and a bank is that credit unions are not-for-profit financial cooperatives.
Okay.
So any profits that we make go back to our members, our shareholders, in the form of lower loan rates, higher savings rates, or lower fees.
Okay.
So in other words, we don't have shareholders that are paid like a bank. One of the big misconceptions about credit unions is that you have to be part of a union to join a credit union, which isn't true.
Okay.
It's one of the major obstacles that we have, and it's not just Financial One Credit Union, it's credit unions in general. All credit unions have a certain charter group or employee group that they service. For Financial One Credit Union, it's all of Anoka County.
Okay.
It's people who live, work, worship, or go to school in Anoka County, and it's part of northern Hennepin County. So that's our charter. So
It's pretty
again,
broad.
it is broad. So anyone who lives in those areas, again, can become a member of Financial One Credit Union.
Okay, and then you have numerous locations within the county then, I would imagine?
We have 3 locations in Anoka County. We have our headquarters in Columbia Heights. We have an office in Coon Rapids and one in Blaine.
Okay, and so you really just need to belong to the credit union to be considered a shareholder to take advantage of all those benefits you mentioned, and that's it?
That's it. It's as simple as opening up a $10 savings account, and when you close the account, you get $10 back, but becoming a member is that easy.
Okay, wonderful. And now, do most people understand this when you talk to prospective clients or customers?
Most people do. It's a lot easier now than it was 10, 20 years ago to explain it, because credit unions received a lot of good publicity when the banks failed.
Oh, sure.
As a result of that, more consumers are educated on the benefits of credit unions.
Okay.
Credit unions in general have had tremendous membership growth over the last 5 years. I know we have. So that's been beneficial just from an educational standpoint.
What do you attribute that growth to?
We attribute the growth to those being dissatisfied with the banks that they're currently banking with.
Okay.
A lot of people were not happy with the government bailout of the
Right.
big banks.
Right.
People weren't happy with the service levels they were receiving at banks.
Okay.
And that's where the credit union stepped in. We were able to voice not only who we are, what we provide, and how we could benefit consumers. Because another one of the big differences between banks and credit unions is that credit unions are focused on the consumer, meaning individual people and families rather than businesses. We do business lending, we're happy to do it, but we focus on small businesses.
Okay.
So small businesses and consumer accounts are where we do our best work.
Well, then you're in a good area for that, because Anoka County certainly has a lot of small businesses.
It does,
So-
and we're happy to be in this area. Obviously, we've been members of the Metro North Chamber for many years.
Right.
Very happy with all that you and your staff do. So it's been a great
Thank you.
partnership.
Well, thank you. Likewise, very much. Now,
Thanks.
we've talked about credit unions more at a high level about the differences between credit unions and banks. What sets Financial One Credit Union apart from all the other credit unions? And there seems to be a lot of credit unions in the metro area. So
Yeah.
what differentiates you?
Yeah. There are a lot of credit unions, and a lot of the larger credit unions are investing a lot of money in advertising, which is great for all of us who work at credit unions. I think the biggest difference between Financial One Credit Union and others is that if we can't assist somebody, whether it's a current member or somebody coming into the office the first time, if we can't directly assist them, we don't simply turn them away. Okay. An example would be if someone comes in and applies for a loan for the first time, and because of credit history, we cannot do the loan, we're going to explain, here's what you can do to improve the credit. And there's a number of factors that come into play there that a lot of people aren't aware of. One of the most common reasons is that people will carry a high level of debt on their credit cards relative to what the balance is, or the credit limit is. Okay. So if my credit limit is $5,000 and I owe $4,900 on the card, it's not going to reflect positively on my credit report, my credit score, or my credit in general. Sure. So we'll go through and we'll explain that. We'll recommend to the member applying that you pay down these cards. There's usually going to be more than that would result in a denial. But the point is that we take the time to explain usually the top 3 reasons why. Here's what you can do to correct it. We'd love to have you come back in 3 to 6 months, and let's see what we can do at that point.
So, and do you see that? Do you see people then coming back and continuing that relationship based on how you began that dialogue?
Yes, we do.
Great.
And those people that do that and come back in, they're usually lifelong members. So excellent. It's a good investment of our time, but that's what we're there to do. Right. You know, one thing that we've been focusing in the office with our managers and our managers meetings is let's get down to the root of why Financial One Credit Unions exists. We exist, and our phrase internally is, we're here to get you there. And that's why we exist. That's the sole reason why Financial One Credit Union is in business. It's to help our members get there. Now they define where there is. There may be a new office location for a business. It might be behind the wheel of a new car. It might be retirement up in the Brainerd Lakes area. But it's very exciting to be a part of that and to help your members get there. Right. And that's what we try to stress to all of our employees. It's not just a job, it's helping people out. Yeah, and it's very rewarding when you view it as such and you operate as such.
Right. Well, I think people can tell when you're authentic and you're living up to your mission, and that's a huge,
I agree.
Huge part, yes. Now I want to spend a couple of minutes talking about Financial One Credit Union a little bit more, down one more level, let's say. So when did Financial One Credit Union get started?
Financial One Credit Union started as Columbia Heights Credit Union in 1933. Okay. So in the middle of the Great Depression, there was a group of individuals that came together to form the credit union as a co-op, a financial co-op, so that they could loan money to one another, essentially. Most credit unions started as a means for people to get loans who couldn't get them at banks or other financial institutions. Sure. So this group came together. I like to see it as the original crowdfunding source. You know, we've got crowdfunding now. Credit unions are the original crowdfunding source. So this group of people got together. They formed what was then Columbia Heights Credit Union in 1933. Last week, we celebrated our 80th year in business.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much. It was a great week for us and all of our members.
It's a huge week.
But it's amazing for me in celebrating that week to think back at, here's an organization that started during the Great Depression, survived the Great Recession, and is now here in business helping its members 80 years later.
Right. And now you have additional locations in the area, and how many jobs do you provide in this area?
We have 30 jobs right now.
That's wonderful.
And growing.
Wonderful. And continued growth plans you just mentioned, and growing. So
yes.
Anything you can share?
Nothing that I can share right now. Growth is always on our mind. It's growth so that it can benefit our members. And the reason we key in on growth is that if we can create greater efficiencies, things become more affordable for us to do, and then we can pass those savings on to our members again in the form of lower loan rates. We did just lower all of our loan rates a month or two ago.
Excellent. Excellent. Well, and I want to talk more about the specific products and services that you provide at Financial One, but we're going to take a short commercial break and then come back and get into those aspects of that. So please stay tuned. Welcome back. I'm Lori Higgins, President of the Metro North Chamber of Commerce, and my guest today on Taking Care of Business is Ross Bloomquist, the President of Financial One Credit Union. So Ross, let's talk some more about the products and services that you have at Financial One. I looked at your website and you have quite the plethora of offerings there. So where would you like to start?
Well, with the basics, really,
Okay.
because I think there's a misnomer in the industry that credit unions don't offer the same services as banks, and we do.
Okay.
We offer every service that you would have at a larger big bank. We have online banking, we have bill pay, we obviously have consumer loans, but we also do business lending as well. Financial One has done very well in the business lending and business services area. We're up over 30% this year alone.
Wow.
And
And why do you think that is?
our focus on the communities, to be
Okay.
honest with you, it's been a lot about getting out in the chamber with your organization. It's getting outside of the office. And I think that's one thing where credit unions have not done the best job in, is getting out in the field, so to speak. We understand the value of getting out in the communities, whether it's through the chamber or partnering with nonprofits and supporting nonprofits, which is something we're very proud of too.
Absolutely.
But being out there has brought a lot of business into us. And now we're seeing the referrals from those businesses who came in.
Excellent.
So it's been great for us.
But I think people still want to do business, even they're banking with people that they've gotten to know and trust.
Yes.
There's a lot of brick and mortars. You can go down any street and have several choices.
Yes.
But I think people still feel more comfortable going into some place where they're going to feel comfortable, recognized, and have that relationship.
Absolutely, I would.
Yeah.
I mean, that's who I would select, and that's who we do select. When you look at the people that we've hired as an organization, most of them have been chamber members. You know, Sam Schutte with Pillar Signs, member of the chamber.
Right.
Who'd we hire to do our signs? We hired Sam.
Wonderful.
There are many others that we have hired. Our HR consultant was through the chamber as well. So Kelly Rito with Roost
Oh, sure.
Solutions.
Yeah.
Kelly does a fantastic job.
Good.
So it goes both ways.
Right.
You know, there's been a lot of benefits for us on that side too. But as a credit union, you know, we focus on smaller businesses, and those are the businesses we see when we go out to the chamber events. And it's odd because there's this mentality within the banking industry that, you know, banks and credit unions can't work together, which I've found completely the opposite to be
Really?
true. Banks, at least the ones I've talked to, they're looking for larger business loans. So we have actually done some things where if we get a loan or a business relationship that we know we can't handle based on the level of needs they have, the size of the loans they need, we will refer them to a bank.
Okay.
Likewise, banks have referred smaller loans to us.
All right.
We're doing loans to, or we have done loans to finance a food truck or something like that.
Oh, interesting.
The individual who
Well, you
came
wouldn't see that in 1993, would
yeah,
you?
no, you wouldn't. But I'm glad it's there now.
Right.
I'm a big fan of food trucks. So I think we can work together, and like I said, we have in the past with some local banks.
Excellent. All right, so now let's back up a step again. So someone wants to join Financial One. They walk in, they need to prove that they're a resident of Anoka County and have $10.
That's correct.
All right.
It's pretty easy.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then it sounds like, and correct me if I'm wrong, but then what sets you apart is, as opposed to maybe perhaps going to a bank, you could potentially have better rates for loans.
That's right.
And checkings and savings. They could perhaps see more come back to them because now they're a shareholder
That's
within
right.
the organization. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay.
And we just did an analysis through a company called RateWatch, which is a national company, where we could list 6 of what we feel our competitors are. So we selected 3 local banks and 3 local credit unions, and I'm proud to say that the reports came back with Financial One having better rates and substantially better rates in many areas than all of those competitors.
Really?
I think there was one category in a used car category where a credit union had a slightly better rate, but outside of that, in the broad arena, we are doing very well with rates. It is the advantage of a credit union in not paying shareholders. That money goes back. We don't have to make as much money, and it's lower loan rates for our members. The same was true. We did the same study on the savings side. I'm happy to report that we came back with the best savings rate when you look at individual terms for CDs. And I'd be happy to provide those reports to any of your viewers because it's something we're proud of. You know, for me, as the CEO of Financial One, I don't base what I've done, the board doesn't base what they've done based on what our return on assets is. It's on what we give back to our members. If we can give back lower rates, again, we lowered our rates recently. If we can add new services, which we've done this year, we added a private student loan option for our members, which has been very popular. We added remote deposit capture for our business members, which has been a fantastic addition.
And just quickly, now that's where you can take a photo on your phone or camera or whatnot of a check and sends it over to you electronically, and then it gets deposited.
Yes, and there's two different aspects to that. That's actually, and I've learned this going through it and adding it on, that's called mobile capture, which we're working on right now. We don't, it's in play. We should have it by the end of the year, but we have remote deposit capture where a business owner would use a scanner. And this is for higher amounts of checks coming through versus just the picture. So we have 4 business owners currently using that, and we just rolled it out a few months ago, and we're doing a slow rollout, but they're already depositing almost $1 million a month to the credit union through 4 scanners on remote deposit capture. It's an amazing thing. And
really needed then.
Yeah, and they no longer need to leave their place of business to go make deposits. Anytime, all day long, scan your checks through. We run them all day long. If they get the check in by 3 o'clock in the afternoon, it's credited to their account the same day.
Excellent.
So that's
saves
been
time and probably a safety issue too, with just not having to transport all those checks. So
absolutely.
Now just a little bit of time left in this section, Ross, and you have so many products and services that you offer, so I want to be sure to get in anything else that you would like to highlight, because I know there's a resources tab on your website where you talk about some additional benefits, such as I think some discounts within autos, credit reports. Do you want to touch on any of that?
We do have a free car buying service for our members where they can connect with a car buyer and buy new vehicles for under invoice price, or he can search out used vehicles for them. It can be as broad as I'm looking for a 4-door sedan and I want to pay, you know, up to $10,000 to I want a 1998, you know, Chevy Impala or whatever it is with X miles. It's a great service to our members. It's a free service. A lot of people don't like to car shop, and that's the perfect. And
most don't.
Yeah. And there are some who do. That's not the right service for them, but for someone who doesn't like to or doesn't have the time, it's a great service.
And I want to quickly just ask you about your kids program, because I was really impressed to see the outreach that you're doing with kids and to get them motivated to save. Can you touch on that very quickly?
Yes. Well, I'm proud to say that the credit union recently won a scholarship called Nerd Wallet, which is an organization that's actually out of California. We are putting together a program to get in particular teens more interested in finance. That's something that Mandy Meisner, our Director of Community Outreach, is working on. She is the one that wrote the speech for that and won the award, so we're very proud of Mandy and where we're going in that direction. We have sponsored some education within local schools, and we plan to do more. So that is the direction we're going in. We do offer a share, save, spend piggy bank, for lack of a better word, where our members can open up a youth account, and those youth can put funds into each of those sections, part of it to use for spending, part for sharing, and part for saving long term. So we're trying to instill those beliefs early on and make it fun.
Good, perfect. Now, you talked about outreach a couple of times, so I want to spend the rest of our time talking about what you do within the community. So we're going to take one more commercial break, and then we'll come back and chat about that.
All right.
So stay tuned.
Begin transmission of North Metro TV Channel 15. With local professionally produced shows, Channel 15 is unlike any other station on cable TV.
With exclusive interviews and stories, North Metro TV News covers the issues that matter in the community. New episodes premiere Fridays at 6:30 p.m.
High school sports highlights and a recap of your teams, Blaine, Centennial, and Spring Lake Park. Watch Sports Den, new episodes each Wednesday, live at 6 p.m.
Watch Inside Entertainment to find out which movies you'll want to check out at the theater.
Pierre Roddy to the 10, 5, touchdown Cougars!
Educational and informative programming focused on local events created to inform our communities on issues regarding public safety.
NMTV can also be watched anywhere in the world live, on the web, and on demand at northmetrotv.com.
Welcome back to Taking Care of Business. Now, Ross, we are going to talk more about Financial One's involvement in the community, and to do so, you brought a guest along today. Would you like to introduce your guest?
Yeah, this is Dave Rudolph with the Southern Anoka Community Assistance Food Shelf, which operates in Anoka County. In a little bit here, I think we're going to talk about some things that we've done with SACA, and in particular Hops for Hunger, which was a huge success earlier in the year.
Perfect. I can't wait to hear more about that. But before we do, I want to segue into that by talking about a new campaign that you are rolling out, which is a new product that you have for Financial One that also ties back to the community. So can you please talk about your Veterans Initiative?
We are very excited about this. This is a big deal for the organization. I think it's a big deal for veterans in Minnesota. What we have done is we recently partnered with the Disabled American Veterans of Minnesota. They go by the name of DAV Minnesota. They have 18,000 members in the state of Minnesota.
Wow.
They are now eligible for membership at the credit union.
Okay.
And what we are doing is we are rolling out veterans what we call an Eagle Platinum credit card. With that credit card, the credit union is going to give back a percentage of the income earned back to the DAV of Minnesota. So that's our way of putting a formal process in place to give back to veterans.
And just to clarify, when you say income earned, that is nothing that is coming out of the DAV member's pocket, correct?
No, it's income that's earned on the card, interchange income when the card is used, et cetera.
On the back end that the Financial Financial One would see, nothing to do with the member.
That's right. So it's a pure donation to the DAV. We're hopeful that we can get many, many people signed up for the card.
Do you have to be a DAV member to get that card?
You do not. You just
Okay.
have to be a veteran and be eligible for membership at the credit union. So I understand that the highest concentration of veterans in Minnesota is in Anoka County.
Really?
That's
I
what
didn't
I've
know
heard. So there should be plenty of vets out there available for the
Right.
Eagle Platinum card.
It's very exciting.
If successful, this could mean donations of thousands of dollars a year for numerous years to the DAV. So we're very excited. Official rollout is soon.
So I got the inside scoop on something. I'm excited.
That's right. That's right. You know,
Fantastic.
while we're talking about veterans, this relates to the chamber too. Is we have also recently partnered with Trust Vets, which Joe Johnson owns.
Right.
I know he's a member of the chamber as well.
absolutely.
With his website, which is another fantastic resource for veterans or people looking to hire veterans, we are going to sponsor 3 veterans, basically one per office, where they can go and promote their services or the business that they do. So we're happy to be working with Joe and Trust Vets as well.
Excellent. And you do so many things for the community, so many things within the chamber, things that you've sponsored for us to help us meet our mission of serving our members in the business community. But you also do your own exciting projects like Hops for Hunger, and I want to be sure that we have plenty of time to talk about that. So can we tackle that one next?
Absolutely.
Fantastic. So why don't you lead off telling us about Hops for Hunger?
It is one of my favorite topics, so it's very easy to talk about. Essentially, Financial One Credit Union has been supporting SACA for many years.
Yes.
Dave and I met, and Dave had some great ideas for different fundraisers. SACA was in need of money, as most nonprofits are, especially food shelves. The demand is very high. It was Dave's idea to do Hops for Hunger as a craft beer lover, etc. And we were happy to be there to support them financially and otherwise, and I'll let Dave take it from there.
Okay, great.
Okay, well, yeah, first of all, I want to thank Ross and Financial One because they really helped make it possible, both in the planning and the financial help. And it was just great working with them. I mean, it was just a good team. Hops for Hunger came about because we did need money for fundraising, to buy more food and things to help out in the community. And so we had planned it on a real short notice. That was kind of interesting. For me, it was a big learning experience for myself, but it was a lot of fun. We went around, talked to a whole bunch of the local brewers. These were all basically Minneapolis, St. Paul metro area brewers, which is something I found out later that they kind of appreciated. It was just, our own little circle in here. And talking to them, this is one of the things we kind of found out, that the brewers seem to be really socially conscious people,
Okay.
Yes.
which was really kind of nice to find out. And so for the vast majority of the ones that we talked to, signing up was, let me check my calendar, if it's open, we're on board. So we did, we got,
successful.
we ended up with what, 9 brewers.
Yeah.
We had a couple drop out at the last second or weren't quite open yet so ones that we were hoping to get, hopefully we'll get this year.
Right. And we only have about 2 minutes left, so
Okay.
I want to be sure that we talk about the one that's coming up. So
Okay.
what can you share about the one that's coming up in January?
Well, it's going to be January 11th, Solar Arts Building.
Which is?
It's just over northeast Minneapolis off of 15th and Monroe. It's just a block east of 15th and Monroe. Great location.
Fantastic building. Full
Yes,
of
it
art,
really
with
is.
a brewery
We're-
on the bottom,
Yeah.
so I
Yeah.
can see why you would choose it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's just a nice destination building for something like that too. And so we're going to have, it'll be music there. We're not quite sure who the bands are going to be yet. It's going to be more acoustic, I think, this time.
Okay.
Keep the noise level down a little bit. The bands are phenomenal last year, but it got a little noisy.
Now, are tickets available now? Can people access a registration site or information about
Tickets
it?
are not available quite yet.
Okay.
Okay, tickets will be becoming available fairly soon. This year they'll be available online. That was one thing we learned last year.
Okay.
They weren't available online. This year they will be available online.
Wonderful.
I just want to add quickly here
Yes.
that last year Hops for Hunger earned enough money to buy the food shelf 75,000 pounds of food.
Oh my
This
goodness.
year our goal is 100,000 pounds. So please come
That's
out and support
tremendous.
Hops for Hunger and
guess
our
so.
local food shelf.
And I would imagine Financial One will have information coming out as soon as possible. And we
Absolutely.
can get that on our chamber website as well when it's available, so people can go to either website for more information here in the near
Definitely.
future.
Good.
So in the last short time remaining, Ross, anything else that you would like to share about Financial One?
I just want to thank you again in the chamber for everything you guys do. Like I said earlier, a lot of our business has come from relationships built through the chamber.
Great.
And
That's what I love to hear.
yeah, so we're happy to be members and plan to be members for a long, long time.
Thank you very much. And thank you both for being my guest today. It
Thank
was
you
very
for-
exciting to learn more about Financial One and SACA and your wonderful community outreach. One of my favorite parts about my job is not only hearing about those connections, but really showcasing how businesses are a true part of the community, because I'm not sure if that's really showcased enough. So thank you for living up to your mission and being an integral part of this community. So
Thank you.
So thank you
you.
very much, and thank you for watching another episode of Taking Care of Business.